Hello, welcome to Money Talk. Today I'm sharing with you a topic titled Buying What You Do Not Want, Breaking the Spell of Money Leadership. And I'll tell you a story. In the not too distant past, my car developed faults, so I took it to my mechanic for fixing. He did it, I came back, but the problem resurfaced after a while. I went back, it was fixed, but it still persisted. So I took a decision to change the car. I made all the necessary arrangements and fixed a date with my mechanic to go to Accra and get a replacement. We went to Accra, did our own search, and we found one. So he performed all the technical checks on the car, after which he advised that I make payments, and I did. But the good news is that I got excess cash after the purchase, something I least expected. You know, in Ghana, cars are very expensive. So actually, when I did the budget, I least expected to get that, excess. But hey, here was I with some appreciable cash after the purchase. But the sad news soon came that instead of coming back home and planning how to use the money, I do not know where this wave of excitement came over me. I got so excited and I told my mechanic to take me to Abossey Okai. What for? I wanted to decorate the car. At Abossey Okai, as soon as I parked my car, a group of aggressive young men, hawkers of various kinds of decorative items surrounded the car, each trying to catch my attention to make a sale. I was carried away, so I bought a lot of decorative items. For the moment, my only obsession was to see the car becoming beautiful, but I did not consider how much I was spending and how it was going to pan out in terms of effect on my overall finances. Then when we came home, I decided to review my purchases, and then I discovered, to my utmost shock, that I had spent close to 70% of that excess. I had lost hugely to impulse buying. Then I got very, very sad. In fact, if I could turn back the hands of time, I would have changed that situation. But hey, there was nothing I could do. The harm had already been caused. In fact, I bought certain items that till date I regret, and I seriously want to dispose of those items. But it's very difficult to get buyers for it. This was not my first experience of impulse buying, as I had been involved in a couple more times. But the size, the sheer quantum of this loss in this episode awakened me to the reality of these needless but avoidable expenses or losses that I was incurring. How come anytime money comes into my domain, I seem to be under some form of pressure to spend in certain directions on certain things that do not align with my needs? Am I under some form of a spell? I asked. This became a pressing puzzle for me to unravel, and it set me thinking. So I kept on searching, I kept on finding out the root cause, and then I discovered that all the root cause or the problem lay in my relationship with money. That anytime you receive money, a certain kind of relationship is established, and depending on your position in that relationship, you either spend wisely or you incur losses. And here's the relationship. It's either a leader-follower, a master-servant relationship. And so I found out that in all of those situations where I lost, money was my leader, master, and I a follower or servant. I discovered that anytime you receive money without having a definitive plan, without having a budget ahead to use that money, then you become a follower or a servant to money. And in the typical framework of leader, follower, master, servant relationship, money then gets the opportunity to control and to direct and dictate the pace of spending and how you should use it. Then as I kept further searching, I discovered that money is not called currency for nothing. That the word currency comes from the Latin word currere, which means to run or to flow. So money is constantly running, constantly in a flow, trying to move to the next person. And it runs with its own budget, with its own blueprint of spending. Therefore, if it comes to meet you unprepared, if it comes to meet you without any plan of how to use it, definitely it will overtake you and subject you to its leadership and force you to spend in accordance with its blueprints. So that is what I had subjected myself to all this while. Now, how do you break this spell of leadership? How do we break this spell of money leadership? Your guess is as good as mine. We need to budget. We need to have a plan for every anticipated income. And anticipated incomes may include your salary at the end of the month or your wages at the end of the period, profit from your business or returns on your investment. Any income that you expect to receive must be budgeted for. You have to sit down and prioritize your spending. Create a shopping list and have the discipline to stick to it. Often the mistake we make is to rely on what we call, or what I call, mental budgets. Oh, I know how to use this money. But trust me, you cannot guarantee what your mind will remember. Your mind cannot remember everything you want to use the money for. So there is a likelihood to forget some of the things that you want to use the money for. And once that happens, a vacuum is created, which will be filled by impulse purchases, which in most cases will become a loss to you in the future. So the way to break that spell of money leadership and to make sure that we are in control of our money, in control of our finances, is to cultivate the discipline of personal budgeting for every single anticipated income that we want to receive. I'm sure you've gotten value from this video. If you did, kindly consider subscribing. But before I leave, let me leave you with this quote from an African scholar, in fact, a Nigerian scholar, who says, "Great messages don't make great people. It is great decisions that make great people." I advise you to make a great decision today by following these simple steps to see greatness manifest in your financial life. Thanks